Welcome back, climbers. What is happening? More rigging on the docket for today. So we've got some speed line happening. Abden's already up in the tree in position, and we wanted to kind of go over a few things here. So we're trying to make this a little bit difficult. As you can see, we had a whole bunch of foliage and trees here on your right side. Over here, some more foliage and trees. So before we get the actual speed line video out of the way, I want to show you a little bit of ways that we can make an adjustable anchor point for this speed line that is coming from that aspen behind us out to here. Now, there's a few ways we can do this. The easiest way, piece of rope. Anchor, we're going to use a figure 8 with a carabiner. It should be plenty. With the size of the limbs coming down, we're not dealing with logs, we're not dealing with anything shock loading. This is a nice, easy, smooth transfer of these limbs to come down into this area. So they are going to be lighter weight. So a figure 8 should be just enough for what you're trying to work in this specific scenario. Other scenarios you might need to get a little bit more in depth, but that's for another video. So let's get into it. So traditionally, with a normal speed line anchor, we would just terminate to something that we could have a solid fixed point. Whether that is a tree, some sort of machinery, potentially a giant boulder out in the middle of the yard. It all depends on the scenario, right? In this specific scenario, right behind me here, if we were to anchor using a static anchor, piece of webbing, and a carabiner to this apple, it's going to draw everything so far into the foliage on this side that everything would hit this point because of the drop angle and stop. So to rectify that situation, I'll show you a variable one that can go back and forth, creating a vector between this white pine and this apple here. So we'll start off, tie a running bowl in here. And this running bowline will walk around the back side of the tree so that way it stays bit in to itself thoroughly. Okay? And then we're going to walk the rest of this rope around here. We'll pull this slack out here, and now grab that piece that I just walked around. What I'm going to do, using this line, down line here, as kind of a guide as to where I want this anchor point to be, I'll kind of fix myself and view how this is going to pull. So I'm going to try and keep this angle right where I want. So this is how it's adjustable. Keep my hand where I want this back anchor, tie an alpine butterfly, dress it properly, and then the other side, we'll pull these semi-tight. They don't have to be real tight, just a little bit. And then I know I want my point right here. That's going to give me this nice down angle. We'll do a second alpine butterfly here. Dress this one up nice and tight as well. Now, what we have here is an anchor that doesn't want to move. So depending on how this is spread out, you know, if you stuck your carabiner in here and the loads were coming off a little bit funny, they'd cross load on this main axis here. So we don't want that. So what I'll do is take the loop of the one alpine, push it through, and then hook my carabiner into both so that way it's locked in and can't move. Now I can take my down line, hook it into my figure 8. Should probably not use a wire gate carabiner for this, but we'll make it work. Rope goes through the figure 8, back into the carabiner. Okay, and now I can apply the necessary tension that he's going to want to get this to clear. So the tighter and tighter and tighter I make this, right, I can get this pretty tight, almost completely straight, no slack in the line whatsoever. I can get those limbs to clear over top of that hickory foliage as it sends its way down here. And as it gets closer, I can slow it down by letting it loose and letting it come down into the drive here where we'll be able to position it for chipping. So stick around, part 2, Abden doing the speed line. Thanks for watching, climbers.